Good morning. This is Kelly from Appalachian Memory Keepers, and this morning I am standing next to the old outhouse. I am in remote Grayson County, Virginia, and one of the greatest parts of my job is that I get invited to take tours of old houses and properties that we post on our social media. And today, that's exactly what I'm doing. A couple weeks ago, I posted a photo of this amazing, beautiful church right here. And lo and behold, one of the descendants of who built it contacted me and invited me for a personal tour. So we're going to go inside next and learn all about its great history. Let's go. So Brian, tell me where we are today.
We're in Grayson County, Virginia at the Bald Rock United Methodist Church.
And so you have a personal connection to this church, don't you?
We do. A family has been here attending this church back when they had service at this church, dating back from the early 1900s.
Wow. So was it your family that actually built the church?
It was a community of Roberts, the Roberts family.
Okay.
Everybody had a hand in it, part in it. Some people donated lumber, others devoted their time and knowledge to building the church.
And was it the first church of any denomination in this community, or was there earlier ones here?
To my knowledge, this was the first church. However, this is the second building for this church. The first church was built right around the corner, probably in the late 1875.
Okay, and what happened? Did it burn down, or they just moved out of it?
My hearsay information is the church did burn.
Okay.
And this is the second church built in 1904, and it is the original bell, though.
So how did they choose Methodism? Did a circuit riding preacher come through here, or do you know any of the history behind that?
Yes, there it was on a circuit. The preachers changed hands throughout the years. A number of them I have information listed for those, but like I say, circuit church, probably once a month they had church here. The next church on the preacher's circuit might be in Freeze, or maybe towards Mouth of Wilson on the following Sundays, but it was once a month at this church.
So Brian, is there a cemetery associated with this church?
There is a church cemetery located on top of the hill.
Right up there. Let's fly the drone up there and get a picture.
This cemetery has been here since the original founding of the church in the late 1800s, where a lot of direct descendant family members of mine and other Roberts family members are buried up there as well. And all of the folks were right here in the Cove area. Most of the ones buried here had a direct hand in founding the church or funding the church.
I noticed that you have two separate doors on the front of this church. Why is that?
Well, that is correct. It was a divided church originally. The women sat on one side and the men sat on the other side. So we had doors for entryway and exit for both people.
Wow. I don't think that'd go over too good today, do you?
No, probably not.
Well, let's go inside and see what you got.
Okay.
So we're inside the church now, Brian. Tell me a little bit about the layout of it.
Well, the layout of it is, we have our pulpit up front. We have a stove both on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the church. That was both for keeping the ladies warm on one side and the men warm on the other side. If I could point out to our church pews here, there was actual wooden divider between the two. It wasn't built to the ceiling, but it was built just high enough so that the ladies couldn't be looking at the men and the men couldn't be looking at the ladies when they were having service.
How interesting. I've never heard of an actual divide being built.
Yeah, there was, and if you'll look on the top of the pews here, there's a notch where it's been filled in on every pew where the board was standing vertical, just high enough from the back of the church to the front, And the preacher actually, was in the front of the pulpit up there. Of course, he could see both sides because he was standing in the middle. The interior of the church is constructed of oak. We don't know the species of oak, but if the church was built in 1904, I would be a good suspect to think some of it might be chestnut oak.
Yeah, I would think so. It's gorgeous. And I'm sure it was all cut right here, local, and milled right here on site probably.
It was cut local. One of the family members that attended the church at the time, Mr. Tom Roberts, he had a sawmill, which was about a mile up the road. It is noted that he donated the wood and the lumber for the church, and it was also cut, off the stump right there, processed, and was carried to the church.
Wow.
And where other members of the church that were maybe good in carpentry, they were the ones actually building.
And what about the pews? Were they built on site or were these purchased from somewhere else?
These pews were built on site. Wow. You can still see some of the sawmill marks, the teeth mark from the mill that he had. And it was Tom Roberts, the sawmill was operable probably till the early 1930s, and it was known to be a steam-powered sawmill.
Okay. I am surprised by how large a space this is. Do you have any idea? Do you have the church ledgers or histories, business meetings to know how many people attended here during its heyday?
I can tell you a little bit. The church was constructed to hold 500 people.
Wow, that was ambitious.
Yes, it was. Now, if you were to have 500 people in here, I think they would be probably shoulder to shoulder and then some.
And so when the preacher was standing up here at this beautiful desk, and you were saying that when the sun shines in here, all this wood just glows like gold.
Yeah, on a bright sunshiny day, it's like a glowing candle in here. It's just bright, very bright.
And back in the day, if you can imagine, there was a wall going right down the middle of these pews. And do you know which side the women sat on? The women were over here, and the men would have been sitting on this side of the wall. And of course, the preacher here can see both sides, make sure everybody stayed awake.
To correlate with what you said, Kelly, the ladies' outhouse is on this side, and the men's outhouse is on that side, so that they couldn't see each other passing in the windows as the preacher man was preaching, should somebody have to go out and use the bathroom.
How interesting. So it was very important to keep the sexes separated.
Evidently.
No hanky-panky in church. You were here for one mission and one mission only, to worship.
That's right, and listen to what the Lord had to say.
Amen.
One of the last services I remember, which was in the early 1980s, I was in kindergarten at the time, and the preacher man at that time, he allowed me to play "Old MacDonald Had a Farm" on this piano, and that was one of my fondest memories of church service here.
Old MacDonald, I love it. So the question is, Brian, can you still play Old MacDonald?
Unfortunately, I cannot.
It's one of those cases of use it or lose it.
And I have lost it.
What is the old hymnal there on the...
Let's look at these. This is Sacred Service Hymns. The Cokesbury Worship Hymnal.
Okay, that's a classic Methodist hymn, and you said 1938?
1938 copyright.
So you got to attend service here?
I did, and I remember just one of those.
Really? How young? Were you 4 or 5 years old?
I was, let's see, kindergarten. I was probably about 5 years old. I just remember playing Old MacDonald on the piano, and I remember my grandmother sitting beside the wood stove behind you.
Did she feed the... So you had men's wood stove and a women's wood stove. That's hard to say 3 times fast. Were the women responsible for feeding their wood stove, or did a man go do it?
I suppose if one of them got a little chill, they did it themselves.
So Brian, you were talking about you had one of the original Bibles here. Is this it?
Yes, this is one of the original Bibles. There was 2, but this is the one that we have left in existence that was given to the church when it was the dedication for the first of the church when it was built back in 1904. Like I say, this is the last one surviving.
Wow, and it's in your possession?
It is. I wouldn't say mine, but I would say our families, the Roberts families. Every year we have that for the family to look through. I'm just a caretaker.
I understand, till you can pass it on.
This Bible has been refurbished.
Okay.
The cover was off of it. So this is when it was refurbished here, looking back in 1981.
1981.
So we have here, we don't have the exact date, but it was given dedication of the new church by Jency Roberts. So here we begin what's the original Bible, what's left of it there. Yep. And we have some illustrations.
Wow, fantastic old illustrations. Here we go. So the Old Testament translated out of the original tongues. Interesting. And so here is the New Testament translated from the original Greek. What is your earliest memory of this Bible?
The earliest memory I have is actually about probably 10 years ago. I had a family member reach out to me who was getting of age. He said, "Hey, I think y'all really could appreciate this."
So you didn't even know of its existence before that?
I did not for the family reunion. So Roberts, he lived in Tennessee, Mr. David Roberts, reached out to me, said, "Hey, you might be interested in this."
What a treasure.
So we drove to Tennessee and got the Bible.
I would have gotten in the car that day and headed that way. Do you have plans who you're going to hand it off to at the appropriate time?
I do have a son. I would like to see him carry it on as long as keep the family reunion going on and the church building kept up.
Absolutely.
But again, it's all the community. It's not just me. It's the Roberts family. So, it's a community family church now. The church was handed over to the Roberts family because the Methodist Church at that time from Lake Junealaska, North Carolina, was not holding church here and had not held church here for a number of years, probably since the early 1980s. Like I say, 1981, 1982 was the last church session I remember. And in 1991, the church conference decided it would be best to hand it over to the family here in the Cove. So it was for the sum of $1.
Wow, the sum of $1. So Brian, I've noticed that there are a ton of what I assume are coat racks going all the way around the church. I've never seen so many coat racks in my life. What do you think was going on with that?
Well, I suppose they probably built it to hold 500 people, as they originally said, but I think they were planning on it, but who knows if they actually had 500 people attend. But there's enough coat racks hanging for everybody, that's for sure.
So you do have a family reunion, so everybody gathers here from all over, probably the East Coast, don't they?
Yes, they do. We've had attendees as far as Arizona come, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and of course the local Roberts family comes in, and we all have a nice lunch. Everybody brings their favorite dish. Oh, man. We spread out a nice couple of tabletops, and we enjoy talking with friends and family every year, catching up.
Swapping pictures?
Yeah, we swapping pictures and talk about what's happened in the past year. And Mr. Joe Roberts here, he's a family descendant. When we go back outside, I have a little item I'd like to share with you.
Ooh, I can't wait. That sounds interesting. So Brian, I have seen a lot of stovepipe in my life, but I've never seen a pail. Looks like it's cut out and worked and attached right to that stovepipe. What in the world is that for?
That was placed there to catch any rainwater that might come straight down the stovepipe from outside. We try to prevent that, or the church was built that way to prevent that. But sometimes when the wind blows really hard, it might blow rain sideways and get into stovepipe. So that's there to prevent water from dripping down and into the pipe and rusting out.
So Brian, when I flew the drone when I was here before, I was impressed by the bell that you have in the bell tower. It is an incredible bell. What can you tell me about it?
Well, it is the original bell from the church, originally built. There's two different ringings to that bell.
Two different ringings?
There's two separate ones, yes.
So like two different cords you could pull or ropes?
Two different ropes. One of those ropes is for a Sunday morning service, which is a faster ding, faster ring, ding, 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 ding. And the second one is a separate line that would rarely be pulled, but unfortunately does. That would be to announce the death, back before we had telephones, to the community, death of someone. It was a slow ding, ding, ding. And that's how members of the community knew that somebody had passed.
So Brian, how did Hurricane Helene affect the church? You've got a creek right here to the side. I bet it was probably up. Did it get inside the building?
We're thankful that it did not get inside the building. It came very close. The ground that we're standing on now was not present after the hurricane. The entire road you see here was gone.
Wow.
Where I'm standing as well, there was a 6-foot hole. This was asphalt. The water picked up the asphalt and carried it all the way down the road somewhere, but the creek came up into the road and took out the entire road all the way down past the next bridge.
So talking about this creek over here, just to the side in front of the church, I understand there's a story that goes back to your childhood. What can you tell me about that?
One of my fondest memories of coming to the family reunion was, oh boy, I get to eat some ice cream and play in the creek.
So you weren't interested in sitting in there and talking family. You wanted to get out here and catch crawdads?
Yeah, we were catching crawdads, skipping rocks, and splashing each other with water. So needless to say, for several years as a child, I was completely soaked from head to toe.
And I bet your mama fussed at you.
She sure did. This is Middle Fox Creek. If you'll notice the rock foundation on the church, which is the original foundation, which is very unique to the Roberts Cove Church, it is believed that the rock used in parts of the foundation comes from this area of the creek. If you'll notice, the rock over here is kind of flat. And also it was close to the church, kind of a shell type rock.
That makes total sense because the shortest distance you have to carry rock is the best distance. So Brian, where are we standing now?
Well, we are standing outside of the church at the ladies' outhouse.
The ladies' outhouse. So there was a men's and a women's. This is the women's. Where was the men's?
The men's?
Right down there in the corner on the other side. So it was a proper distance away because I remember you saying that when they had the divider up in the church, the women could come out here and not be spied upon.
Yep. The women came out their side of the church and came to their outhouse, and the men went to their outhouse through their side of the church. That way they couldn't view who was going to the bathroom.
I understand there's something unique about this outhouse. What's different about it?
Well, this outhouse happens to be a 2-seater.
No way.
Yes, sir.
2 holes. So you could come out here to do your business with your closest friend.
I don't know that I would participate in that, but that's the way it was constructed. Out here, back in the early 1980s, was where you're standing was actually where the tables were placed for the food. Everybody lined up down through here with the food, placed it on, or tables were lined up and everybody put their food out and everybody helped themselves. And they all set their lawn chairs out right along the fence here and on down through there and out through here. But I specifically remember right here where I'm standing is where my grandmother and her sister would sit every year.
So what was your grandmother's name, and did you say her sister?
Yeah, they would sit actually right here where I'm standing in their lawn chairs and eat their meal. Her name was Cleo and her sister was Mamie.
Roberts.
Roberts. Yeah.
Nice. And what do you remember about the food?
Man, was it good.
Describe it. Tell me about the food.
If you like good old grandma's cooking, I'm talking about the kind that they don't have anymore.
You're not talking Cracker Barrel, right?
No, no, Cracker Barrel, no.
We don't talk about Cracker Barrel.
It's just some good eating.
Good country mountain food.
It was, every bit of it was homemade.
Do you remember one thing that was your favorite?
Yes, the deviled eggs.
Oh, baby.
Deviled eggs and country ham. Whole country ham, man, was it good. Biscuits, everything you could think of, just a big spread. Remember inside when I had a little something I wanted to show you specifically about descendant, Mr. Joe Roberts?
Yeah, Joe Roberts, you said you had something to share.
Well, here I have is one of the bear traps that he made.
Lord, you said he was a metal worker, so he actually made this trap.
He did make this trap. I don't know if he ever used it,
Right.
but he was known in the area for being a metal worker blacksmith. So this is one of his bear traps.
One of a kind.
The late 1800s.
So Brian, I see there's a sign on the outside of the church here. What is that about?
That was put up in 1992 when the Methodist Church sold the church building and property back to the Roberts family for the sum of $1.
Man, that was the deal of the century.
I guess they thought it was prudent to maybe sell it back to the family, being that the family had a large part of building the original church.
And more importantly, paying for it.
Yep, you're right.
I hope that each and every one of you enjoyed that trip to Grayson County today to visit this incredible old family church, old Methodist church, the Bald Rock Church. It was fantastic to learn everything about it and to have a personal tour guide from a direct descendant of the people that built it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.